Hello,
Great.
everyone. This is Jeffrey Kerr. I'm here today with two very special guests. One of them made her Broadway debut almost 20 years ago when she took over for Kelli O'Hara as Clara Johnson in The Light in the Piazza, where she even got to be a part of the PBS broadcast. Her subsequent credits include Hannah Campbell in Allegiance with George Takei and Leah Salonga, Ellen in the 2017 revival of Miss Saigon, and most recently as Beth in the Tony-winning revival of Merrily We Roll Along, starring Jonathan Groff, Daniel Radcliffe, and Lindsay Mendez. Not to mention that she also happens to be Broadway's longest-running Glinda in Wicked. The other is a composer, producer, and musical director who has done arrangements and orchestrations that have been performed on Oprah, Howard Stern, Rachel Ray, The Rosie O'Donnell Show, Martha Stewart, the NBC tree lighting at Rockefeller Center, and the American Songbook series at Lincoln Center. He has also created arrangements and played for B.B. Winans, Rosie O'Donnell, Jesse Mueller, Jeremy Abbott, and Adam Rippon. He serves as the regular music director for Orphe, Teal Wicks, Daniel Hope, and Lee Michelle, having just recently orchestrated and conducted Miss Michelle's lauded Carnegie Hall debut and Life in Music tour. He is the Associate Artistic Director of O'Donnell's Foundation, Rosie's Theater Kids in NYC. Together, they've just released a brand new song connected to their upbringing in Houston, Texas, titled Margarita Christmas. Would the two of you mind introducing yourselves one by one?
Hi, Katie Rose Clarke here. Thanks for having me.
Steven Jamail here. Thanks for having us.
So, to start things off, would you guys mind telling us about the song?
Yeah, sure. So this song came about 10 years ago is when we started it. And actually Stephen probably should be the one to start this with, actually.
I got asked by Lincoln Center for like their songbook series to write a holiday song. It was a night of new music, new composers and stuff like that. And it was, it's very intimidating to write a Christmas song or any sort of a holiday song. There's so many amazing ones out there. And I very much didn't want it to sound crazy musical theater. I wanted it to feel like a lot of the classics that we grew up with. And I kind of was having writer's block. And Katie suggested, hey, let's write it together. Grab a bottle of tequila. We'll make some margaritas. It'll be a margarita Christmas. And next thing you know, that's exactly what happened. That was the name of the song from that first conversation.
Well, yeah, as someone who has lately been listening to holiday traditions on Sirius XM, I of course die for, classic Christmas music like that.
Yeah, we were hoping to do something with a little twist on it and to give our own spin and our own flavor. And I think that's what made it so fun, not taking it too seriously.
So, what was it like getting to write the song?
Every time Stephen would ask me to write with him, I don't have a writer's background. I don't have a musician background. So it was always for me something that I felt very excited to do, but also slightly intimidated to do. But because Stephen and I have known each other for so long and have been friends for so long, he was always so encouraging and really helped me kind of find what my voice is and what I could lend to things. And also as we did things, I sort of learned what the process was like. This one was just one that we felt like our easy kind of rapport that we have. And the hook kind of became what the song, it came to us first, which always kind of made everything kind of fall in place. And it was, again, just, we had full-time jobs at the time. It was late at night. It was like we wanted to do this quick project together, try to, figure this little ditty out together. So it was like, come over and have some tequila. I'll make margaritas. And so it ended up just feeling like we were hanging out and having fun and making each other laugh. And that's really what this song brings, is just joy and laughter.
Yeah, I think it was one of the most fun. It didn't feel like there was a writing process to it. It just kind of came out. We did it really in a couple of hours. It happened really fast. And, it probably helped that we had a couple margaritas. We were really tired and we were just having a good time. And the lyrics came out really naturally. And next thing I know, we had a draft. And it hasn't honestly really changed much at all since that first night of writing.
And how does it feel to have the song released, especially at a time like this where we could all, I guess, use some cheering up?
Yeah, I mean it's wild. We've been talking about doing this forever. We had a great Nashville band record the track for this. We've had it in our back pocket for a while, and we kind of felt like, you know what, this is the year that everybody needs a margarita. So here we go. It feels good though. It feels nice to have it out there. Our families have been nudging us to get this out for a long time, and they kind of both of our families said, Y'all got to put this out there right now." And we're like, "Okay, okay, okay, we got it."
So I guess going back to the beginning, how did each of you first get started in the theater?
Yeah, we both grew up in the same hometown outside of Houston, Texas. And we had kind of, for me, I started sort of getting interested in singing and at a young age. And around high school is when I started singing more and wanting to get more. And I started voice lessons with a teacher that also ran a community theater in our hometown, in our small hometown. And she just was a big musical theater Broadway buff, and she would lend me her cast albums and things. And I started to really fall in love with it, with the genre of musical theater. And I got involved in the community theater there. Steven and I both were involved in different shows he was playing, and I was on stage. And just around high school is really when I think the bug kind of bit me, and then ended up studying it in college and moving up to New York to pursue it.
Yeah, same for me. It was actually this community theater. It was the first place that I ever was a rehearsal pianist. I was Katie's voice teacher, and the director of this community theater place took a chance on me and said, "You're still figuring out how to play piano at a level strong enough for this, but we'd love to have you." And she really gave me a chance, and I got to see really the process from first rehearsal to the end for the first time in a show where I was the pianist and I helped the music director out. And I said, "Oh, I think I want to do this. I need to get better at playing the piano, but I really want to do this." And that was so many years ago.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say like the thing about Margarita Christmas for us this year and why right now is that there's really not there's not a huge life-changing reason. But we're just both in a place life-wise where we've had this song, we've been kicking it around for a while. We were asked to come back to Houston to perform at the Hobby Center to do just kind of our two-hander show, just the two of us, a cabaret show. We decided to debut the song there because it is very Texas in its roots and in its sound and in its vibe. So we debuted it there. It was just last weekend. So it was in the holiday spirit to sort of like gift this song, this debut of this song. And as we were we had a couple nights of shows. Each night after the show, we had almost everybody that talked to us after the show was pulling out their phones, pulling up Spotify, trying to find our song. And honestly, that was kind of the reason why we went ahead and released it. We had recorded the track, the accompaniment track with these Nashville artists that was so amazing, and we just were kind of holding on to it, like not really wanting to like do anything with it or not knowing what to do with it yet. So we had the backing track, and actually had vocals that I had recorded with another great friend of ours, Alex. And honestly, we just decided to go ahead and do it after these concerts as sort of a love letter to the nights that we had there in Houston and to our Houston roots, which is where we've got all of our arts training. And just we were so exposed to so many great things in the Houston area. So it was kind of our love letter to our background.
Well, and as we were doing the song in concert in Houston, this thing happened that I've never had happen to me before in a concert of something that I've written. The audience started singing along. They like very loudly, very quickly. They got the hook really fast, and
Yeah, the first time, the first chorus we were singing, they started singing along with us, and we were both like, it was a surprise.
It was a really pleasant, happy surprise, and I was like, "Oh, maybe we have something with this song."
Yeah, and Stephen, you've worked with, so many prolific Broadway and TV stars. Do you have any favorites that you enjoy working with?
I feel very lucky that a lot of these people that I've worked with are also very good friends. So I get to write with a few of them. I get to arrange and collaborate with a lot of them. I don't know. I just feel very, very fortunate. I've been doing a lot of concerts along with Katie. I've been doing a lot of concerts with Orfeh recently, who's an incredible vocalist. There was also nothing like getting to make my Carnegie Hall debut last year with Leah, who, really, really knows how to put on a great show. But I feel lucky that I get to work with some really great humans that also just happen to be some of the best singers in the business. So I feel very fortunate.
And Katie, as I mentioned earlier, you made your Broadway debut when you went into the Lights in the Piazza, and you not only got to star alongside Victoria Clark and Aaron Lazar, the latter of whom we should say is currently battling ALS, but you also got to be a part of the PBS broadcast. What was your whole experience in the show like?
Yeah, that was so surreal. It was my Broadway debut, and I had just turned 21, so I was pretty young, and I didn't even realize, when I went into the show and they had started they mentioned we were gonna do a live, PBS recording. I didn't even know that they did that. I didn't know those things were available. So I had not really had exposure to that. So I was sort of as green as you could possibly be, inexperienced as you could possibly be. But I will say that show was such an incredible one to join and to make your debut in, and to kind of have sort of the process of like learning and just like dipping your toe in the waters, sort of in the professional world. Everybody was amazing and really tried to help me along. And in particular for me, Aaron Lazar, I'll never forget how much how much time he took to sit and talk to me and explain things, especially when I had questions. And Sarah Uriarty Berry she played Franca, and she would come into my dressing room and explain things to me that I wouldn't have even known to ask about, like, I mean, like tipping dressers and hairdressers. I never had a hairdresser before. I had one professional show in Houston, and I was in the ensemble. So I just had zero experience. And I just was so thankful that I had such a seasoned group of actors that were also so generous with their time and their, knowledge and experience, so that they could help me kind of navigate those waters. But it was surreal. And from there, really, I spent a lot of time in Wicked, and I learned so much during that process as well. So yeah, those were the shows where I feel like I learned.
Yeah, I guess that segues into my next question, which is, you've been in and out of Wicked a few times for over a decade. And how did your journey with that musical begin?
Yeah, I was doing a regional show with Bart Shearer in Connecticut, who was the director of Piazza as well. And I got a call to audition for the national tour of Wicked, and I went, and I ended up getting it. I was still in this out of town play, and they came up and I started rehearsing in Connecticut with the stage manager and the music director of the national tour. Because I think they were in Boston and I was in Connecticut. So it just worked out to start rehearsals while I was finishing up this out of town run of this play. And that was in 2007. Yeah, they were just very there. It was just like a real match, me and Wicked, the creative team and me. And they asked me to stay for another contract. Then they asked me to come to Broadway. They kept inviting me for more contracts, and I just loved the show so much, and I was so thankful to continually be asked back. I took about a 5-year break, and about after, I can't remember, it was 2013 was my contract, was one of my last contracts, and then I took about a 5-year break before I returned again at the end of 2018, December of 2018, and then return. And that was my last contract, December of 2018 through the beginning of 2019. So anyway, it was a long journey, long journey, 2007 to 2019.
Yeah, and I hope you don't mind, but I've got a personal story I'd like to share if that's all right.
Oh yeah, love it.
Oh, okay. So the first time I ever saw Wicked was on tour in Cleveland. My mom got us tickets as a Christmas present one year, and the night we went, there was a snowstorm. We got to our seats late. Luckily, the show started shortly after we arrived, and a couple of minutes later is when you arrived on stage as Glinda via the bobble.
Oh, amazing. I love it. Oh, I love when people have seen me from years ago, especially on tour. It's like such a gift. And in fact, when I met my husband, he had a friend that said, I think I saw her when they were in Louisville. And he, sure enough, pulls out his playbill, and it was me. And so, yes, that's so awesome. I love that. I've had some amazing Alphabuzz. I've had some amazing castmates in my time with Wicked, for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, have you gotten to see the new movie yet?
I did see it. Yes, I saw it at a screening for the kind of the Wicked family, and it was unbelievable. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, I saw it last week.
Yeah, pretty epic. Steven, you guys just saw it,
Yeah,
right?
we saw it last night, and I knew it was going to be good. Because I had heard no one had said anything bad about it, but like it still blew all of my expectations away. I was like, how did you get so much right? It never works out that way. It was, I don't know. I was a mess by the end of that movie.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. It was so moving. It was such a different feeling probably seeing it because was the original Broadway cast, the current Broadway cast, a lot of long running witches that were invited back, movie cast, movie director. I mean, it was just like sizzling. The audience was just on fire for it. You know, as soon as Cynthia finished The Wizard and I mean, it was like a standing ovation to Cynthia. After Popular, it was a standing ovation to Ari, and it was like a pretty magical experience. But I think even without that hype all around me, I think I still would have been an absolute puddle. I loved it. I thought it was thrilling. It's so epic. I can't wait for the second part.
Yeah, where audiences will probably be in bigger tears when For Good comes on.
Absolutely.
And I spoke with Laurel Harris, Frequent Alphabet, a few years ago, and when she got to attend that screening, and she was really glowing about it on Instagram.
Yes. Yeah. I did. I performed with Laurel many times. She was standby when I was in Wicked in 2019. Yeah. And that was so fun too to see old friends from the show. And that's the other gift of Wicked. It's like this, I mean, not just the witches, but other people that you've done the show with. I mean, people return to the show and it's a family. It really is.
Yeah, and most recently you were in the hit revival of Merrily We Roll Along, which has quite a success story because, obviously when it was originally on Broadway, it was a legendary Sondheim flop, and now it came back and was a big hit, not only commercially, but even with critics, feeling Murray Friedman finally got it right. So how do you look back on your time with the show?
That show for me was definitely felt like just this once in a career opportunity. I've worked with such amazing people on Broadway, but having that caliber of actors in a Broadway musical is something that I don't know that I'll ever get that luxury again. I mean, I pray and hope that I do, but it was to be able to work with people like Jonathan Groff and Daniel Radcliffe. And then Lindsay and I are super close. We did Wicked together as well. To be able to work with her again was just such a gift. And then really we got to grow with the show. We did it off Broadway and it came to Broadway. We did the live capture. We recorded it and went through the Tonys with it. Now the album is nominated for a Grammy. So it's just such this full and complete journey with a show that I've actually never had from very beginning until like this level of success.
I guess you can say it's probably the gift that keeps on giving.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so for those who'd like to pursue a career in the theater, where do you guys think would be a good place to start?
I think the greatest thing is just to be forever, you're forever a student and always learning. And especially young people, I think they can really latch onto one area of the theater or even one show or musical theater versus straight theater. And I think for me, the most amazing thing is that art it can cross over between all genres and everything informs how you are as a performer in life as well. So the more you are willing to learn and be teachable, the better you are as an artist.
Yeah, and I just think get involved wherever you are. Try to get involved with your community theater because that is where my love like started for this. And you learn so much and usually in a very safe environment. I can't stay curious and work locally and try to find out what's right in your backyard. Broadway does not have to be the end all be all by any means. Sometimes the art form thrives best, I think, at the community level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, and I currently live in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is a big art city, and there's lots of great theater work happening around here, which involves some Broadway caliber talent coming down for regional shows or concerts and such.
Yeah, I mean, Katie and I's first professional show was a regional theater house, and that was also kind of game changing too. I still think about some of the regional productions that I've seen and how amazing they are. Even sometimes I like them better than some of the stuff I've seen on Broadway. So yeah, you're in a great spot too. There's a lot of good theater in North Carolina right now.
hmm Before we go, do either of you have any upcoming projects that you'd like to share with us?
I currently am not working. We just did that amazing concert in Houston and now I'm just gearing up for the holidays with my kids. I have 3 kids, so that's all I've got going on.
That's a big project though. Just have a lot of concert work coming up. I'm going to be in Indiana with Orfeo next week, and then we have a residency at the Cafe Carlisle in the early winter. And then I just finished a demo recording of a new show of mine called Hexed that Katie is actually on and sounds brilliant on. And we're in the process of talking to directors about that and finding out where it goes. So we're really excited.
Katie, Steven, I thank you both very much for devoting your time to this conversation. It was great getting to talk to each of you.
Oh, thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much.
having us.
Yeah, thank you for working this out. This was really nice.
And for those who'd like to keep up with either of your careers, where can people find each of you on the internet?
I'm only on Instagram, and it's my name, Katie Rose Clarke.
Same thing right now. It's at Steven Jamail, but I pretty much post all the career stuff on Instagram and use that as my outlet and communication tool.
Well, thanks again for joining me today. This was great, and happy holidays.
Same to you.
Yeah.